Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach. I had to do that like how many times I kept saying 3, not free code session, but I finally got it. Speaking of 3, probably why I was thinking of 3 because I was doing this before and I said 3. Third time's a charm, hopefully, of trying to get this done. I think we now know what we need to get done though here. So hopefully it should be a simple fix. We're just going to capture the instance, we're going to get the mock type, and then we're going to do that. So let's get to it. It's going to break some tests. There's no doubt about that. That's going to break tests. Okay. So these are called this property. These are not methods. Do I even know what I'm doing? Okay. So now we want here to be type mock type. And let's actually make this nullable because it is possible that we never create it. Unlikely, but it's possible. Okay. So we have that in place. We are going to say was instance invoked. I wonder if there is a way to say not, I think that's not a method. Like if there's a property that says not null when, if this is true, then that means this will be true. I know that. The compiler's not going to know that, but I'm okay with that. Okay. So what we want to do here is say this dot mock type. Okay. We're going to say type of T. Yeah. Shut up. I know what I'm doing. Okay. Type mock type. We're going to say this dot mock type. Full name member. Now it should go, oh, you already did it here, but it still doesn't realize it here. That's weird. It's like it should know that I did this. So then why is it questioning it down here? I thought it would be better than that, but apparently it isn't. Okay. So we have the failure here. We have the mock type here. Now what we need to do is actually go into the code generation itself. Oh boy, where is this actually done? It would be where we're doing an instance. Constructors. There should be something in here that's build field setters. Sorry, it's just taking a little. It might, no, this is actually in the constructor itself. We want this in the extensions, I believe. Constructor properties. Yeah, here we go. Okay. That's kind of interesting because this one, I thought it was a raw create, and that's just a class. So, oh yeah, it's down here. Okay, I just was completely missing it. Okay. This looks like a job for raw string literals, right? Or dot write lines. Right? How did that work? Because I believe I just want to say here, like I do want this to be in, yeah. If naming context self was instance invoked, then we're eventually going to want a det there. And then we're going to want to say here and that, because we want to get that. Except what we want to do is say, yeah, now we want to say, we want to grab that. We want to say var mock is equal to new rock, whatever that is, whatever the parameters are. Okay. We then want to say self, why did it? Self dot mock type is equal to mock.getType. And then we want to return the mock. Else, what we want to do now is basically just grab this like that. And that's it. That does what we want, but up here. And it changed that. Glorious. I'm loving. I can't even talk. That's why I'm limiting this. I'm going to just do this one tonight. And if I don't get finished with it, that's okay. Because I can already tell I'm starting to lose brain cells just because it's late. Okay, so we say, was the instance invoked? If it wasn't, we're going to say it's invoked. We're going to grab a new instance, passing in all the parameters. We're going to set the mock type equal to the get type, and then we're going to return the mock. And that does all of this. Much simpler, cleaner to read, right? Right. Yes, I agree. Okay. So we could do that here too. We could say, since we're at it, I mean, why not? Writer dot write lines. And again, the intent is not to get too cleaned up with all that stuff, but where opportunities arise, you know, it's the old Boy Scout thing. Leave it better than what you found it. That's not a Boy Scout. I'm just saying I've heard that one before. So, yes, we need to not do that. Let's do that. Okay. Because then it does that. Perfect. Perfect. Much cleaner to read. Much cleaner. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Now, we know this is going to break. Okay. We also know that when we come into here, we are now saying go on the mock type and get the member description, which this should all work. And we also know that we've changed this. The constructor builder isn't part of it. We don't care about that. Okay. The property generator tests was just what we were trying to, but all of these are going to have to change. Okay. We're going to have new code here to change this, which is fine. This should now work. Okay. And I don't believe, I do have tests around this, which of course works if you give it the right type. Of course it would work. You know, how funny. So I actually did tests. I just didn't implement it correctly. So what do I want to run here? I want to run this because what I want to see is when I call exceptions verify, what I want to see is in the error now, does it put the right thing in there? Okay, so we're going to have to do the shutdown and start up again and see if it does that. Okay. Now, well, we'll just see what happens. Okay, so hold on. Okay, I'm getting a whole bunch of errors with the actual construction with this in some places. Now, I changed this test to match the new generated code, and it's passing, which means not only is it matching, it actually compiles. So I believe it has to be something that I did up here because I'm getting a whole bunch of like weird, odd errors. Oh, that's okay. I can tell it's all this because I didn't have the double. Okay, so if I say here, compare with unmodified, what I should be able to do is say, grab that the way it was, come in here, take that line out, and now put it in. Okay. Helps that, you know, if you want to code things correctly, it's amazing that you have to code them correctly. Who knew? Shut down, start up again, and let's make sure that everything builds and hopefully get back into this and make it work. Okay, so now the build works. Let's see what this does. Now again, what this should do is actually have our message correct. Now it should have failed because we're actually purposely making it fail. And if this succeeds, I'm going to have to grab the type, mock type. Remember, said, look at that. Look at that. That is the message we expect. Now let's take this and say, throws type of this and message is. What I was expecting is that I would be like in message is equal to, a message equal to. Okay, that makes sense. Except this long thing. There. Okay. So we assert that as throw types in the message is equal to this. Okay, not quite. Why'd you fail? Expected. What the heck? What's wrong with this? Oh, it's just this. Really close. Now we pass. Okay. What I'm going to do is stop for now with this because there's a whole bunch of tests that I'm going to have to fix that's expecting code to be generated in a certain way. And that's obviously going to break. Okay. So that's tedious. I don't want to do that. Let's at least celebrate a victory here. Okay. So let's say 220 updated, lots of NuGet packages, ignored warnings, and finally got the verification message working. There. Okay. So we're going to let this go through. I will come back and fix all the tests. What I'm going to do next time is let's go to the issue so I can explain what that is. Okay. This one's a little embarrassing because I am surprised that it got this far without me ever noticing this. What happened, I was actually about to show this on stage, FES Live, and the night before I put this example in and I'm like, why isn't this working? And then I went, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. So this is why I'm fixing this now, because I can't wait for potentially months down the road to actually get this in. And that is a danger that if somebody actually did really pick this up and they found a bug that they're like, we're a $1 billion corporation, you got to fix this yesterday. It's like, well, buyer beware. You're not under any support agreement. So, and I'm in the process of changing a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, this was pretty basic though, which is I do have a returns method, and arguably I debated doing that because really your callback is the way to do everything. If you want your method to return something, you could say callback and then have your delegate there that will say return this. Okay. The return syntax is a little like a shortcut. If you don't care to have an implementation, you just say, I want to return 3, because it becomes a little bit heavyweight to say, I want to return a 3 if you have to use the callback syntax. You can do it, but it's a little bit cumbersome. And then I think it can say like return 3 times, call count or whatever. So I forget how the syntax works. But I didn't put in a throws for some reason. I said, if you really want to throw an exception, then you use the callback approach. Maybe I should have had a throws, but either way, this is what happened. So as you can tell here, I have a callback that will say, hey, I'm supposed to throw a not supported exception. Okay. Let's make this whatever. Okay. And so I'm like, I'm expecting that this will throw this. Okay. Now it does, that works, but the verify fails. Okay. And the reason is because of the order of the generated code. So this increment call count, I believe, should be the first thing in this if block. So if you find a handler that matches what your expectations are, okay, it's valid, then you've already called it. So that's the first thing you should do, is say, I called it. Now what you need to do is, and depending upon if it returns or it doesn't return, you're going to have some logic in here that will do some other thing, raise events and whatnot. But this should be the first thing in your method, in your if block, I should say. Okay. And so by doing that, then I think that will still allow this to fail as expected, but the verification won't fail because we have verified that we actually did call it. Okay. And yes, you can look at this and say, well, of course it should, but you want to make sure that it actually did that, if that makes sense. I think that is the way to solve this. I just had a thought of, well, wait a minute, what happens if you are trying to verify that? Yeah, never mind. I think that's right, but that's why I have tests, because I know by doing this, we're gonna have a bunch of tests break that expected this to be here, and now that line of code is actually going to be right here at the first spot. Okay, so this is also going to break a bunch of tests, but I'm going to put a test in first that's based on this example, make sure it fails, make that change, run this test again, that should pass, and then I got to go back through all my regular tests, not my integration tests, and fix those so that the expected gen code is correct. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do in the next episode, but I am done for tonight because, it's only 8 o'clock, but I'm already feeling kind of tired, and I don't want to go too far without, having the brain power necessary. And I've learned that not just in these videos, but just in life, you can only go so far into the evening or late nights, and it's diminishing returns. Unless you get just lucky and you're in a groove and you just don't want to stop, but you have to listen to yourself and go, I'm just not making any sense. This is not helping. And pulling in all night or whatever, just no, not a good thing. And I'm just starting to feel like, yeah, just stop. Don't move on. Don't continue. Okay. So that's the next part I'm going to work on. And then after that, we're going to start to get into the whole rewrite. Well, we're first going to go into some proof of concepts, but we'll see what that says and then we'll move on. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.